When we were alone in the infancy of our species, we looked to the future with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Would we find others out there in the swirling dark of space? Would we craft the minds of people from materials pulled from the unfeeling stone found beneath our feet and fill them with the animation of life with our mastery of science? How would we interact with these minds that had grown from beginnings so far removed from our own, that had either been shaped by forces and perhaps even chemistries so different from our own life-giving cradle world, that their fundamental requirements would be fatal to us, or that had no trace of the biological at all? Beings of logic and mathematics operating at speeds to leave us in their metaphorical dust. Metaphorical because you will rarely meet a being as fastidious about cleanliness as a digital sapient. All comments about cleaning robots aside, it's not that surprising when you think about it, given how inorganic mechanical systems that lack the self-repair functions of biology respond to grit and abrasion. In hindsight, it is understandable that we were afraid of the unknown. There was not a single example that we could point to help dispel our unfounded fears of interaction with alien beings, where neither us nor they would have the ability to derive any context of understanding between us. And so our literature was filled with speculation about wars between species due to incompatible responses to stimuli between species, or AI revolutions turning on their creators due to supposedly incompatible goals and purposes, and the inability of there to be any context to bridge the gap. Thankfully, the universe paid no heed to our overactive imaginations, and when we began venturing out among the stars, we were not met with unthinking hordes of utterly alien creatures operating by rules unfathomable to our understanding, and instead met people. Strange people, sure, but just people. Some of them were assholes and some became friends, but never did we find anything truly, well, alien. It was a little disappointing and confusing. How could an infinite universe not contain anything that was truly fundamentally different to ourselves? Apparently, this was a common question among all the polities, both biological and technological, that had reached out into space, and we found camaraderie in trying to figure out the reasons along with our friends in the galactic community. In the end, the solution that was the hardest to dismiss was not that there was something limiting life to the recognizable and understandable, but rather that life just wants to do the same things no matter what form it takes. Namely, it wants to make its surroundings more suited for itself and improve its condition. Non-sentient life searches for food and shelter on instinct informed by whatever senses are available to it, but only really seeks to benefit itself as it lacks the cognition to make meaningful choices. Sentient animal life might be able to provide benefits for those like itself, or that it can determine are sharing some form of bond to it, family, pack mates, and the like, but all other entities are only categorized as to whether they are useful or detrimental to the goal of sating their needs and desires. It is only at the level of sapience that life is able to take full responsibility for its actions, and why there is a seeming lack of the alien in the universe. If the path to improving your situation requires actions that inflict suffering on others, then you will find that path stymied by those that would be harmed. All species learn this lesson while on their homeworld, as they form societies and advance. I'm not saying that there is no war in all species history, or even that there is no war even now, but it is possible to determine the reasons for why these happen, even among the Gestalt races and the digital sapient conglomerates. And it provides a useful metric for determining when conflict is necessary, namely when some group is purposefully attempting to improve its situation at the expense of others. So with that bit of context into the interspecies interactions of galactic society, and why we all seem to get along with such aplomb compared to what your young species might have convinced itself in its isolation before joining, do you, Ambassador, care to explain why humanity has terraformed an entire planet into a subtropical climate for what seems to be the express purpose of monocropping the entire surface with a highly potent narcotic substance you call coffee beans? Ah,